Peace.
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Crate Mode. This is episode number 2, and we start today's episode off by taking a look at our squad, most importantly the center back position. Now, we talked about this in the last episode, but Steven Cocker and Virgil van Dijk are two excellent center backs. However, we do need to get rid of one of them if we tend to bring our young players in. And although they're the same age and exactly the same rating, I believe that Virgil van Dijk is a better choice than Steven Cocker is, because he's taller and faster and a lot stronger than Steven Cocker. So we go ahead and send Steven Cocker back to QBR. Next thing we do is take a look at our scouted players. I searched basically every league trying to find players that I've never used in past career modes before. There are a few players that I have used, but I scouted them basically because I know that they're capable of getting to the high 80s. Whether we'll be able to do that again, I'm not really sure. We'll have to wait and see. But a lot of really good, really young players here. I think I scouted like almost 50 of them. Some of them are suggestions from subscribers, but a majority of them I found by just looking through the leagues, including a couple Americans. It's good to see them in the game, because soccer, as we call it, it's not very popular in America, because we have like a bunch of different other sports that we play that I guess is more appealing to the American audience, but it's good to see them in the game. I try to sign them whenever I can. We'll get some news from our scout in Italy here, but the only two players I was really interested in was this left back Cheikh Keita of Chiavari and Andres Teo from Cagliari. But now the board come to us and say they want us to reach the EuroLeague final. Now, last year Southampton finished in 7th place and qualified for the EuroLeague, courtesy of Graziano Pelle and Sadio Mane's amazing season last year. But now the board wants us to one-up that and even reach the final. Personally, I don't think that that's too much to ask. In fact, I think that we might be able to win the cup itself. But as we move towards the first game of the group stage against Zenit here in this preseason tournament, I was hoping to start the series off with a winning start, but unfortunately it does end up in a 1-1 draw, with Josh Sims of all people rescuing us and making sure we get a point. But we'll apply some more player training here. As the season goes on, we'll be switching out players as we learn to know our team's weaknesses and strengths and work to improve that. But as we approach our second game against Real Sociedad, we get some news from our scout base in Spain. He brought back a bunch of fully scouted players, and the first player that we go after is this right midfielder here, Nahuel Leiva of Villarreal. The Argentina right midfielder is 70 rated at just 18 years old. I definitely did not want to waste any time getting this guy. So we'll go ahead and offer Villarreal a bid of £2.5 million and see what they say about that. It might have been a bit of an overspend, but I think it's a necessary one for a player like that. But we'll go ahead and make our move for another wonder kid here, 16-year-old Papelu of Levante. He's already 62 rated, and we go ahead and make a bid of £300,000 plus Dominic Gape and see what they say. If we can't get him, another central midfielder I'd like to get is Mahmoud Dahoud of Borussia Mönchengladbach. He's already 66 rated and could easily be one of the club's future stars. One position that Southampton's struggling is the goalkeeper position. So we'll go after 19-year-old Christian Walton of Brighton here. He looks really, really good. And he's 6'5", and also has the strong grip potential tag, which is what you look for in young goalkeepers. We'll get into our second game of today's episode against Real Sociedad. That first game was a draw to Zenit, and unfortunately this one is as well. Not the start I wanted, having drawn our opening 2 games. We need to win if we do want to get out of the group stage and into the knockout rounds. But more transfer news here, as our scout brings us more scouted players. Most of these guys have a few days left, but there are a couple who are fully scouted. Abdullah Nuri and Vaclav Cherny of Ajax. Both players look really, really good, and although you can't see on Cherny here, he does have that showing great potential tag. So we'll go ahead and make an offer of £1.2 million. Even though his valuation is set at $850,000, he has about 5 years remaining in his contract, so I have to overpay for him a little bit. And I knew Abdullah Nuri was good, but I did not expect him to have 4-star skill moves and 4-star weak foot. And he could easily be one of the best signings we make if we manage to get a hold of him. But just like we did to Cherny there, we offer Ajax a bid of $1.2 million and see if they'll accept it. And following that game against Real Sociedad, I noticed that Jose Font got injured. What I didn't know was that he'd be out for 2 whole months, and I just hate when players get injured, especially in the preseason. Florian Garros we do for now, but we really need to get a young backup player in case stuff like this happens. And Rivaldo Coetzee looks like my kind of player. He's relatively fast for a center back. He also has decent strength. and we'll look to get a straight swap of my Ishida for him and see if they'll accept it. If I can bring in players and send out players at the same time, I'm going to look to do that every time. The next player we'll go for is Crystal Gonzalez. I recently had this guy in my Schalke career mode and got him up to an 87. He has about a year remaining on his contract, so you can get him for a pretty cheap price. We're going with a bid of $350,000 and see what Tenerife says about that. Torino want to take Sadio Mane away for $10 million, and we reject it. I love this guy, and if we were to shift on a striker, it would probably be either Pele or Shane Long. And it looks like Dahoud is on his way to us, as Mönchengladbach accept our offer, but Levante reject our bid for the youngster. We throw an extra $100,000 and see what happens, but it doesn't look likely. But as we make our way to our final group stage match, we got a fully scouted report of Andres Teo and Sheikh Keita. Since Teo recently joined Cagliari, we'll have to get him on a loan deal, and that's exactly what we'll do now. And we see that Ajax do accept a bid of £1.2 million for Václav Černý, so we'll go ahead and offer him a 5-year contract on a sporadic first team role, and see if he'll accept it. Brighton reject our initial bid of $800,000 for Christian Walton and ask for $1.3 million, but I really don't want to pay almost twice as much as his valuation. So we'll go with a bid of $1 million and see if they'll accept it. And our number one target might be joining us, as Villarreal accept our $2.5 million bid for the young winger. So we offer him a 5-year contract as a squad rotation player and see what he says. And finally, Levante accept a bid of $400,000 plus Dominic Gape after they rejected our initial bid of $300,000. I guess they really wanted the extra $100,000. But as we move into the third and final game of today's episode, we desperately needed a win to get into the knockout rounds. I was a bit worried we'd get a draw again, but the boys pulled through and got a 3-1 victory, courtesy of Mane's 2 goals. But after the game, we took a look at this Brazilian striker, Gabriel, and I've never seen this guy in any previous FIFAs before, and he was actually a recommendation by one of my good friends, and I was completely blown away by this guy. He literally has like everything you want in a striker, and more. And the best part is he's still only 18 years old. Seriously guys, if you haven't already, get this guy in your team in career mode. But after that Christian Walton saga, we looked for a different goalkeeper and found this guy, Bartolomei Dragowski. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Anyways, this guy is regarded as one of the best young goalkeepers in the world in real life, so I wasn't surprised nor opposed to offering £2.7 million for him, making him our most expensive target. The next player we were after was a Russian attacking mid, Alexei Miranchuk. This guy only has a year remaining on his contract, so we're going to try and get him for a bargain of just £1 million. I'm completely undecided between him and Abdelak Nouri right now. But in case our bid for Rivaldo Coetzee fails, I scouted this 17-year-old center-back playing for Nice in the French First Division. Olivier Bashagli looks like a very promising player and makes things even better as he also has less than a year left with his current club. We offer them a bid of just £800,000, almost half the price of his valuation of $1.3 million. We also tried to get the Mexican prodigy, Raul Godinho of Porto, on a 1-year loan, with the option to buy him at the end of the year for £1.5 million. I would love to get a backup right back in case Cedric gets injured, and Benjamin Pavard of Leo looks like the guy for the job. We offer Leo £850,000 and see what they say. Everton wanted to take our center mid, Steven Davis, but we counter that, and also Fulham take our right back, Cuco Martina, off our hands for a year. Ajax accept a bid of $1.2 million for Abdelak Nouri, and we offer him a 5-year contract as a sporadic first-team player. Our player stats are coming together nicely as we're playing more training here. The only player I can really see staying here is our left back, Matt Target, possibly Josh Sims as well, but with Černý coming in, it doesn't look likely. One position I'm trying to improve is our striker position. Obviously we have Gabriel as a target, but we need to get a lower rated player to come in as a sub every now and then, and Dominic Solanke looks like a guy. The English striker playing for Vitesse in the Eredivisie is at £875,000, but we'll offer them $1 million for him, and hopefully they'll accept. One player I recommend that you guys get in your career mode is Steven Bergwijn of PSV. He was also in my Schalke career mode, and I was able to get him to hit 89. Obviously some potential glitch involved, but just to show you that it's possible. And also John Suter here, he was also in that dream team at Schalke, and he also got into the high 80s with 86. You can get him at a steal of around £200,000 to £300,000. Isaiah Brown, formerly of Chelsea, I think, is a very good winger. I believe he can also play as striker as well. You can get him around £1.4 million. But as we move towards our next game here, Brighton are really adamant about us paying $1.3 million for the goalkeeper, so we just give them what they want. Walton is a good player, and I'm curious to see how good of a player he'll be in the future. whether here with us or with Brighton. But finally, we make our first two signings of the series. Vaclav Černý, the Czech winger, coming from Ajax for just 1.2 million, and Ohorleva coming in from Villarreal for 2.5 million pounds. But that does end today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next episode of Career Mode very soon.